Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Continuing with reading the Bhagavad Gita. I missed the chapter yesterday, so today I'm going to do 2 chapters. Chapter 5 and chapter 6. Just the English. And I was considering how it's a lot to take in. Even just one verse it's like a little seed. You read the verse and it grows. At least that's what I experienced. So I'm still processing some of the verses that I read 3-4 days ago. So I'm kind of hesitant to read something new because it's kind of like, wow, I haven't even finished processing chapter 3 and chapter 4. And I'm going to go on to chapter 5 and 6. But we'll do it. There's something else I was considering, how everyone's different. And Krishna can accommodate everyone. Krishna accommodates everyone. Some who are practicing Krishna consciousness will do it in a more of a social and community-oriented environment. Have families and children and businesses and property and everything will be done as a sacrifice, serving Krishna. And for some devotees, most devotees actually, that's how they'll be peaceful and feel happy and won't be disturbed. But for others, and I guess I kind of fall into that category, the less I have, the better. So for me, fasting and remaining a little removed from all the activity that goes on, I'm more peaceful that way. And so everybody's different, and Krishna consciousness can accommodate everyone. So I guess more renounced position, although the real meaning of renunciation is to use everything in Krishna's service. Real renunciation doesn't mean you don't have anything. Some people think like that. You don't have anything, you renounce. Well, yes and no. You can't really measure renunciation quite like that, because real renunciation means using everything in Krishna's service. But for some of us, the less we have, the easier it is for us to kind of deal with existence and to practice Krishna consciousness. So I guess I fall into that category of minimizing material, whatever, relationships, possessions. I have what I need, and I just go from there. So that's the little preamble here. Now for what Krishna has to say. Prabhupada has to say. So this is chapter 5. And Krishna is explaining transcendental knowledge to Arjuna. And this chapter is dealing with, as part of the conversation, action in Krishna consciousness. In other words, Krishna consciousness isn't just a good idea, it's a practice. It has practical application. So Krishna's going to be talking about this with his friend Arjuna. He says, Arjuna asks a question, he says. Now they're sitting on the chariot in the middle of the battlefield. And the war hasn't started yet. Both sides are there looking at each other, getting ready to fight. And Krishna and Arjuna are sitting in the middle of it. They can see both sides. And they're having this conversation. Arjuna said, "O Krishna, first of all, you asked me to renounce work. And then again, you recommend work with devotion. Now, will you kindly tell me definitely which of the two is more beneficial?" Blessed Lord said, "The renunciation of work and work in devotion are both good for liberation. But of the two, work in devotional service is better than renunciation of works. One who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities is known to be always renounced. Such a person, liberated from all dualities, easily overcomes material bondage and is completely liberated, O mighty armed Arjuna. Only the ignorant speak of karma yoga and devotional service as being different from the analytical study of the material world, Sankhya. Those who are actually learned say that he who applies himself well to one of these paths achieves the results of both. One who knows that the position reached by means of renunciation can also be attained by works in devotional service, and who therefore sees that the path of works and the path of renunciation are one, sees things as they are. Unless one is engaged in devotional service of the Lord, mere renunciation of activities cannot make one happy. The sages, purified by works of devotion, achieve the supreme without delay. One who works in devotion, who is a pure soul, who controls his mind and senses, is dear to everyone, and everyone is dear to him. Though always working, such a man is never entangled. A person in the divine consciousness, although engaged in seeing, hearing, touching, smelling, eating, moving about, sleeping, breathing, always knows within himself that he actually does nothing at all. Because while speaking, evacuating, receiving, opening or closing his eyes, he always knows that only the material senses are engaged with their objects, and that he is aloof from them. One who performs his duty without attachment, surrendering the results unto the Supreme God, is not affected by sinful action, as the lotus leaf is untouched by water. The yogis, abandoning attachment, act with body, mind, intelligence, and even the senses only for the purpose of purification. The steadily devoted soul attains unadulterated peace because he offers the result of all activities to me. Whereas a person who is not in union with the divine, who is greedy for the fruits of his labor, becomes entangled. When the embodied living being controls his nature and mentally renounces all actions, he resides happily in the city of 9 gates, the material body, neither working nor causing work to be done. The embodied spirit, master of the city of his body, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature. Nor does the Supreme Spirit assume anyone's sinful or pious activities. Embodied beings, however, are bewildered because of the ignorance which covers their real knowledge. When, however, one is enlightened with the knowledge by which nescience is destroyed, then his knowledge reveals everything, as the sun lights up everything in the daytime. When one's intelligence, mind, faith, and refuge are fixed in the Supreme, then one becomes fully cleansed of misgivings through complete knowledge, and thus proceeds straight on the path of liberation. The humble sage, by virtue of true knowledge, sees with equal vision a learned and gentle Brahmin, a cow, an elephant, a dog, and a dog-eater, outcast. Those whose minds are established in sameness and equanimity have already conquered the conditions of birth and death. They are flawless like Brahman. Thus, they are already situated in Brahman. A person who neither rejoices upon achieving something pleasant, nor laments upon obtaining something unpleasant, who is self-intelligent, unbewildered, who knows the science of God, is to be understood as already situated in transcendence. Such a liberated person is not attracted to material sense pleasure or external objects, but is always in trance, enjoying the pleasure within. In this way, the self-realized person enjoys unlimited happiness, for he concentrates on the Supreme. An intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery, which are due to contact with the material senses. The son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them. Before giving up his present body, if one is able to tolerate the urges of the material senses and check the force of desire and anger, he's a yogi and is happy in this world. One whose happiness is within, who is active within, who rejoices within, who is illumined within, is actually the perfect mystic. He is liberated in the Supreme, and ultimately he attains the Supreme. One who is beyond duality and doubt, whose mind is engaged within, who is always busy working for the welfare of all sentient beings, and who is free from all sins, achieves liberation in the Supreme. Those who are free from anger and all material desires, who are self-realized, self-disciplined, and constantly endeavoring for perfection, are assured of liberation in the Supreme in the very near future. Shutting out all external sense objects, keeping the eyes and vision concentrated between the two eyebrows, suspending the inward and outward breaths within the nostrils, thus controlling the mind, senses, and intelligence, the transcendentalist becomes free from desire, fear, and anger. One who is always in this state is certainly liberated. Sages, knowing me as the ultimate purpose of all sacrifices and austerities, the Supreme Lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attain peace from the pangs of material miseries. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai, Srila Prabhupada, that's chapter 5, Karma Yoga. Hare Krishna. A lot to think about there.